Hello and welcome to a little HOPS update video regarding email notification settings for clients and users. An exciting new development in HOPS that I'm sure a lot of railways and a lot of users will be very pleased to see. Here we are in our demo version of HOPS, and we'll find that, if we scroll down a bit to the system menu and look in HOPS config details, there's now a new tab at the top called Email Notification Settings. And in Email Notification Settings is a list of some of the types of email that users can receive from HOPS. Not all of them at this stage, but quite a lot of them. And certainly the ones that we think it might be useful for you to decide to allow users to opt in or out of. Unlike some of the other types, such as password resets and things like that, where there's no option to opt out. So by default, all of these types of email notifications are set to always on, but you can now change them to user can decide. And you can either set it to user can decide with a default of on, or user can decide with a default of off. So I'll just change a few of these. There's no setting for completely off, incidentally. If you want it completely off, take away the permission, because all of these emails are governed by permissions as well. This is an additional opt-in or opt-out option for the user. They still must have permission to be able to have the email and to be able to opt in or out. So I've made a few changes there to a few different types of email that I want my users to be able to opt in or out of, and what I want the default to be if they take no action at all. So obviously the ones that I leave at default on will continue to be sent, but the users have the option to opt out. And the ones that are default off will continue to be sent, but the users, will not continue to be sent unless the users explicitly opt in. And the ones that are left in green, the ones that are left are always on, and the user has no option. So I'll press save, and it will prompt me that it's saved. And now if we put ourselves in the mind frame of a user, and you can, once you have specified which emails you want users to be able to opt in or out of, you can tell your users this. If they click on their name in the top corner, there's a new additional tab on the user's profile called Email Settings, where they have a very similar screen, but it only shows the types of emails that you've given them the option to opt in and out, and it only shows the ones that they've actually got permission for. So you can see this user has got permissions for 3 of these types of email, of the ones that they're allowed to have an option to opt in and out for. It tells the user what the default is, and by default, if the user takes no action, this middle column will be lit up, which will indicate by red or green whether or not the user is going to get that email. And the user can then decide to opt in or out in the same way. So this one, the default is opted in. They can either leave it at default and they'll continue to get the emails, or if they put it to opt in, it'll make no difference. The only difference, in fact, that it will make is if they opt in and then the default changes. If you as the railway change the default, they will still be opted in. Whereas if they leave it at the default and then you change the default to no, they will not get them anymore. And of course they can opt out, and if they choose to opt out because you've given them the option, they will no longer receive that particular type of email. And of course they must press save. Now this is very useful because it means you don't have to jiggle around with quite so many permissions for types of email that you feel are useful but are not mandatory, whereas the ones that you feel are mandatory and a necessary part of volunteering, you can just leave it always on and the users will always receive them. But if you had a group of people who all had a certain permission, such as the people who can approve annual leave requests, but actually in practice only 2 people out of the 4 actually do the approving, the other 2 could decide to opt out of the email. They'll still have permission to do it if they need to, but they won't receive the emails unnecessarily. Now there is going to be a second video of this topic, which I'm going to make specifically for users, and I'm going to make it unlisted on YouTube. I'll put the link to it in the comments of this video, so that when you've decided which types of email users are going to be allowed to opt in and out of, you can then use the second YouTube video to send it to them if you want to, which will explain how they can opt in and out of the emails. Now, the only last thing that this means is that you, Railways clients, have to make a decision as to which emails are mandatory and which ones are optional. And one of the huge problems we have in HOPS is users that don't really want to receive emails, but you've said they have to, they mark them as spam, and it negatively affects our spam score and quite often causes us to get banned by different email providers, and we have to jump through all sorts of hoops to become unbanned. So if you decide that an email is mandatory, it is a condition of you volunteering here that you must receive this email, we will know if a user has marked that as spam, and we will expect you to take exception with that user for marking an email as spam, which you have decided is a necessary part of their volunteering. If you're not prepared to take issue with them for marking it as spam, then it's not a mandatory email to receive, and you should allow them to opt in and out. So I'm sorry if that sounds a bit harsh, but it is for the benefit of everyone that we don't keep getting blocked by email service providers. Thank you very much, and I hope that's helpful.